Well, welcome everyone. Hi, welcome to Behind the Internship. We're your hosts, John DePass.
And I'm Emerissa Mapade.
And we're so excited that you decided to tune in today. We have a great show planned for you.
So today's episode is going to be about the recruitment HR process for Cisco marketing interns. We have 3 lovely guests today that decided to join us today, so we're really excited for that. Before we get started, we're going to have them introduce themselves.
Sure. Hi guys, my name is Mila Milanovic. I am a senior at Virginia Tech, and I am on the Enterprise Network Solutions team.
I'm Kinley Sigmund. I'm a senior at the University of South Carolina, and I'm working with Global Partner Marketing.
I'm Thomas Brunner. I'm an MBA at Indiana University, and I am working on Enterprise Marketing Solutions.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. So we know Cisco is a huge name in the market, but also just in the world. How did you hear about it? What was your first kind of interaction with Cisco?
I am studying business information technology at my school, so it's just kind of a name that's thrown around a lot, and I knew what it was just like before I even applied, so that was really great. Yeah.
For me, I grew up 10 minutes down the road, so I had a lot of friends and parents working here, and I actually passed it every single day on the way to soccer, so I just kind of always knew what it was.
I, in my last job, used WebEx like 3 or 4 hours a day, so I'm very familiar with the collaboration side of things here at Cisco.
Yeah, that's awesome. So actually walk me through it. Like, tell me how you applied, because I know some people apply in person, some people apply online. So what was it for you?
Right, so I actually applied through in-person business interview process that we have at school. It's a huge business career fair that we have called Business Horizons, and that Cisco had a booth set up. So basically you hand your resume over, you kind of have like a one-on-one brief few minutes with one of the recruiters, and then they'll reach back out to you later if they're interested. So it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like the oddball out a little bit because I just applied online and sent it and hoped for the best.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that was a little scary, just kind of sending it and waiting for a response. But
Oh, that's cool. So like no one came to your school per se, you just found it online and then were like, oh, I'll just submit my resume.
because I knew about it and I know I wanted to come back to Raleigh for the summer. So
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Ambition. That's
That is very good. Good job.
Yeah, so for me, it really couldn't have been easier. They came on campus, I networked with them a little bit in September, and then I literally just turned in my resume online, and that was it. So it's
Oh, wow.
really,
So-
really simple, really easy for me.
A little bit of both. That's interesting. So you had one that you just turned online, one where they really came and recruited, and a little bit of both. That's awesome. That's really different. I think that's a value that Cisco brings, especially through the application process.
Yeah, definitely. But I know you're an MBA, and did you happen to do any like internship undergrad? Like, was there like a difference between applying to an internship undergrad and then being an MBA?
Yeah, so it was a lot easier as an MBA because you have so many different companies coming on campus, and also we have an average of like 5 years of experience. So I have a lot more things I can talk about rather than just clubs and activities I was in school. So it was a lot easier, I thought, than undergrad, just because I had so many different things to talk about.
Interesting. So, okay, let's get into the interview process of this. So, how did that work for you? Did you have an in-person interview, a WebEx interview? Did you have any struggles you went through?
Yeah, so I actually had an interview through WebEx, and so basically what happens is they send you an email, they schedule a date for your interview, and then you use the video conferencing application that Cisco has called WebEx. And it was pretty seamless, you would think. But I actually had a little bit of a struggle with using WebEx.
What happened?
I never used WebEx before, so I didn't realize that it was video conferencing. I thought it was just audio. I thought it was like a phone interview,
Okay.
just through
Makes sense.
the
Yeah.
computer, right? So I didn't realize that my video was on the whole time. Thankfully, I had business attire on, but it was actually funny because I was literally just talking to the wall on my phone, and I didn't realize that it was recording me the whole time and that she was looking at me the whole time. But thankfully, it didn't really matter. It was a bump in the road, but it was totally fine.
And look, you're here.
I'm
You
here
made it
now,
through,
so
right? That's all that matters.
yeah.
So your interviewer never let you know to look at the camera?
So when we were finishing up the interview, she mentioned something about being a participant of the chat, and I opened up the tab that said participants, and I was on chats the whole time. I realized I had a participant with me that had her video on, so I got to finish it off strong, thankfully.
There you go.
But what can you do?
Rookie mistake. Is what
So we all know that Cisco is a great company, but we also want to have this video series to talk about the challenges that you come in as an intern. And so we already talked about your challenge with WebEx, but does anybody else have a real challenge that they've gone through or something that they want to say was an obstacle that they had to overcome during this whole application process?
I'd say just knowing that like how many other applicants there were going to be was difficult, and just like being able to, or having to send my application off into the internet without knowing if I was going to hear back. And then I also have 2 sisters who go to NC State, so I knew Cisco comes to their campus and recruits them heavily, so I knew I was up against people in person. So that was kind of like a mental thing. I was like, oh my goodness, like what's going to happen?
That's real.
And then I'm also a dual major of international business and marketing, so I've only taken 1 marketing class so far, so I don't have a lot of experience with actual like courses, so I didn't want that to like hinder my application.
Wow, that's interesting. And that's a really real challenge that I feel a lot of people already do feel coming in. Like, who am I going to be up against? Oh, do they have an advantage because they come to my school and like people don't come to your school? So that's a good point. Thanks for sharing that. And I know, Thomas, you came from a smaller company. So what did you have any challenges coming in to a big 70,000 person company like Cisco?
So with the process, the one thing I was a little bit nervous about was, again, I'm going up against people who had come from much larger companies, whereas my company was 20 people, and I'm 99% sure no one at Cisco knows what my company did. So it's tough not to have that brand name recognition, but it ended up, working out well for me. But that was my initial kind of hesitation, was I don't necessarily have the same background as other people applying.
Right, makes sense.
So I guess a big question of the day would be, why Cisco? Why did you decide to actually apply to Cisco and then take the internship?
So like I said, I do have a little bit of a background in tech and more like a technical field. But like I said before, I knew that Cisco is huge in that sector, in that business sector, and I wanted to be part of a really large company and one that was already successful. So I definitely knew that that was something that I wanted to apply for.
That's great.
Yeah.
For me, I had a couple factors go into it. Like, I wanted to use both parts of my degree, and so I wanted to work for a really big global company, and Cisco is part of that, obviously. And then marketing. And then another part is that I went abroad last spring, so I wanted to lock in my internship before I went abroad, so I didn't have to worry about that. And Cisco is really prompt with their responses and their hiring process, so I think all of us were hired around October, which is great, because I know a lot of companies don't do it that early. So those were important.
So I knew that I wanted to get into tech, and when I spoke with the people from Cisco, it just seemed like we got along very well. And I think with Cisco and the transformation they're doing from a hardware to a software company really aligned with my background coming from a software company before I came back to school. So I think it was just a good fit for me personally and professionally.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all the time we have for you all today. Thanks so much for being on the show. We really do appreciate it. Your stories, your experiences, your journeys, your challenges, everything that you've said has just been fantastic. I know it resonates with me deeply as well. So thank you again for being with us.
I just want to thank everyone that's watching us today. We really appreciate it. We come on every Monday at 1 p.m., so stay tuned. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for more content.
Let's get the conversation started. Be sure to like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our content in all your favorite social media platforms.